What's up? What's up? What's up, family? It is a special What's Up, family? We got a special guest on, and I'm so excited to get everything started. So, if you are new here, I just want to let you know I am the J. Dwayne Garnett, founder and love advocate of Love is a Parable. Um, my unruly sidekick, I don't know where he at. I hope he all right out there. So, somebody send an SOS to my brother because I need to find him and make sure he's okay. Um, my brother from another mother, whenever he tunes in, he will be here. So what I'm going to do, well, first of all, if this is your first time tuning in to What's Up, family, first of all, where you been? Second of all, why it took you so long? But third of all, I definitely want to let you know that this is an opportunity for us to learn from so many other people having engaging conversations where we truly believe that everyone brings something to the table. So what I'm going to do is bring on our special guest and our friends. So first of all, I want to give it up for our new friend, your new friend. I hope I say your name right because I just realized I'm Southern and I never said your name to you. Yeah, so y'all, let's give it up for Jack Turnwald. Did I say that right?
You got it. You got it.
Yay! Because Augusta will come out in a minute. Do you hear me? Stuff. Augusta will come out. And guess what, Jack? You got like amazing timing. Because look, my brother from another mother is on.
Oh, yes.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Boy, I was about to put out a APB.
I made it back home like literally just in the nick of time.
I think it was the Yaris's fault, but we'll talk about that another day. So we got to bring on our friends because I can't belabor too much of the time talking about how much I hate my brother's car. So we're going to bring At the Helm with Wayne and Kelly on. Yay!
Woo! What's up, family?
All right. What's up, y'all?
We're here. What's up, everybody? What's up, family?
So, Jack, we're going to get on into it. Mm-hmm. First, I want you to tell people a little bit about you because we are going to ask some questions. So I don't want you to tell them too much because then I won't have anything to ask you and I'll just be looking at you. But I do want to give you an opportunity. I need to see why I can't see Wayne and Kelly. If I take this down, no, I can't see you. I can't see y'all. Come up some, Wayne and Kelly. I can't see you. I see Wayne. I can't see Kelly.
You tell them to raise their chairs like you do me? Raise.
Yeah, because they average height. I'd be like, we can't see.
Camera.
Yeah, but anyway,
is it just you, or
it's just you?
It's you. No, I mean, is it just you who can't see us?
No, it's everybody.
Yeah,
it's everybody.
I say your mouth is
kind of below your banner.
Yeah. Oh,
you giving Mr.
Maybe needs to lower the camera. I need to send my producer around and lower the.
You giving Mr. Wilson from Home Improvement right now.
Maybe I just need to sit back.
Good throwback. I love that one.
Okay. Right, now, Jack, we're going to go ahead and throw it on to you.
Now.
Tell them who you are.
All right. Well, I'm Jack Turnwald. My pronouns are they, them. I am a trans non-binary DEI consultant. Formerly, I was an educator for 19 years at the high school level, though I say formerly, I don't know that when you're an educator that long, you ever stop being an educator. You are always kind of in that practice in some way, shape, or form. I'm originally from Ohio and came to North Carolina by way of South Korea, which is an interesting story. And came here to do my grad degree and settled into public schools here, working with students, and just overall a champion of equity as a result of those experiences. And I recently ran for town council in Holly Springs, which is how some of the folks here know me locally if they don't know the rest of my backstory.
Oh, I thought you was going to give more. What part of Ohio are you from, Jack?
So I was born in Lima, lost in middle America, and then basically lived all up and down I-75 because I grew up in Toledo, was there until I was graduating from high school. And then right as I ended up with my college being Miami of Ohio, my family moved to Cincinnati, 45 minutes from my dorm room. It's not quite the getaway to college that some people expect to have. But yeah, I ended up at Miami of Ohio. My folks were in Cincinnati, and that is where they remain today. And then after college, moved to South Korea for my Fulbright.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So Jack is smart. Jack is educated. Jack coming with some strength.
Jack is well traveled.
Right.
Yeah,
And all
very fortunate.
Yeah, all I did was take a couple of cruises and move 2 states over.
Right.
Can't tell me nothing. I moved 2 states over, and she done lived other places. I mean, they done lived other places. So, Jack, I got a couple of questions that we're going to get into, but I do want people to get to know Wayne and Kelly, because it's been a minute since Wayne and Kelly has been on.
Nice.
I think it's been since last year, right? Or earlier this year?
I'm not sure, but you really moved 2 states up, not 2 states over.
No, it's over.
Yeah, I feel like it was
It's
the Black Panther, the Black Panther
Okay.
conversation.
Yeah, I think it was.
Well, so that's how many years ago was that? Okay.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Just one.
That might be closer to 2.
Yeah, but
Maybe.
tell the
The
people-
second Black Panther.
Oh, the
No,
second.
it was the
It was the
Okay.
second.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
it
about
was
to
the
say.
second.
yeah.
Whew. I'm like,
Yeah,
T'Challa
it
done
was
went
the
on the
second.
glory and all. I was about to say. Whew,
Yeah.
Okay. But tell the people about y'all. Who y'all are. What y'all do. Who y'all be.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna let you ladies first.
Go ahead.
We are Wayne and Kelly Wilhelm. We have been married for 30 years. Woo! Okay, I need everybody to be excited about it. Not just,
It was
especially
woo.
you.
It was
Yeah.
woo.
That was an exhale.
Yeah, woo. And we live in Willow Springs. What else? Oh, that's too much. And we so she wants me to go ahead, and every time I say something, I get eyes like, what is you saying? This is how it works over here. We are at the helm with Kelly and Wayne. You can find us at thehelmnc.com, where we are trying to empower people to control their destiny. Because when you are at the helm, you are making those decisions. You are the one that is steering. You are the one that is driving your course, and you have the ability to help navigate through all of those situations.
Every now and then the tide gets high, but
Waves may come,
stay in control.
storms may come, but you're still at the helm. You are still in control of what you do.
So we do that. We are also trying to be an advocate for those who are sometimes voiceless. So we do a lot of work with the North Carolina Poor People's Campaign. We also are involved with our local branch of the NAACP. And most any place where there is oppression and marginalization, we're probably there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
And the
the
interesting
good-
is, go ahead.
In the good words of Vernon John, anytime you see a good fight, get in it.
Yes.
I like that.
I like that too. Yep, and I'm realizing I'm more and more of a fighter because of Wayne and Kelly. I didn't know I cared about certain things as much as I did until I met Wayne and Kelly. I even met Jack because of Wayne and Kelly. I didn't even know where I was going, matter of fact.
Well
I'm
done,
just
Ken.
pulling
Well
up at somebody's house. I'm just going in somebody's backyard. And then somebody put a camera in my face and said, "You and Jack take this picture." That was Beth. Okay. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. All I know is Jack had on a cool bow tie too. And I was like, I like bow ties. I can't tie a bow tie, but I like bow ties.
I can teach you to tie a bow tie.
There
Okay,
you
I'm gonna
go.
hold you. I'm gonna hold you to that, Jack, and I'm gonna be like,
Absolutely.
"It's me." I'm gonna be
Yep.
outside your door. It's me. Okay, so
Jack,
Jack, I do
whoever your marketing manager was, like they were on point for the campaign.
Oh.
Like everything was cool.
I'm absolutely going to shout out Stacey Burns on that. So if people need branding work, people need marketing work, Stacey Burns was my ride or die on everything. And I talked through ideas with her, and she just produced incredible work for us. So
She
yeah,
did a good job.
Yeah,
And
can you put Stacey Burns' information in the private comment if you can see it, so that
Yeah.
way we can share it with everybody and they can see it too.
for sure.
And Jay, I know you have questions to get to, and we have Cordell to get to. But Jack, if you are looking for some bow ties somewhere, we know someone who makes bow ties.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I wonder if we know the same person. Because my bow tie guy is at Jada Men's Accessories in Durham. He's on Foster Street, and he and his wife own the business and make them. But I'm always open to check out places. So
Yeah, I was gonna say he's in Durham, but
He's
I don't
in
think they're
Durham.
the same.
The real close. But
Yeah.
So
We'll
Kevin,
get to that.
we'll get the information. We'll get the information to you. We need to exchange information. Yes, because I
For
love a
sure.
good bow tie too.
Yes.
This wasn't about you, and it's about me and my love for bow ties.
I know, but I just wanted to. But I have a love. Go ahead.
The sad part is I got some too and don't even know how to tie them.
Yes.
I be going to frat meetings talking about tie my bow tie for me.
Well, the other thing you can do, you can go antiquing like I do and find some vintage bow ties, and they've got the metal clips, the old school ones from like the 50s and 60s.
Uh-huh.
And you can find some pretty cool ones that way.
Yeah, those are the ones I like.
I'm ready for this bow tie action. Well,
Yes.
Jack, my new best friend.
I like you fishing.
Join the bow tie brigade.
What'd you say, bro?
Join the bow tie brigade. It's on.
Yeah.
I said I like efficiency, so I'm a fan of the metal clips too. Efficiency is the name of the game for me. And I happen to like bow ties too, so we're all in the same boat.
The bow tie boat it is.
I think we need to take pictures in the bow tie. I think I'm ready to take some bow tie pictures.
It is.
I think bow ties are appropriate for my life. Well, we got to get to the first question, because what ended up happening is like 75% of these squares have ADHD. 75%. I don't know about you just yet, Jack, but I know what will happen with the other squares in a minute.
Yes.
Okay. So, bro, you ready to read the first question?
Yeah. How did your experiences in South Korea, studies at Miami University, and time at Duke University contribute to your transition from an award-winning public educator to a human-centric DEI consultant?
That's
a
already
good question.
Big question to start with, because those were some really different experiences. So I went to undergrad at Miami University to study psychology and English. And I don't know if any of y'all have ever been to Miami University in Ohio. It was founded in 1809, so it was a university before Florida was a state, which is, everybody always thinks it's Miami, Florida. It's Miami, Ohio. But it's basically a whole bunch of white people in the middle of a cornfield. And so while I was there, I felt very isolated in some regards, and where there was much diversity at the school, it was often very segregated. Students of color were often housed where the athletes were, or there was one part of campus that was considered the international part of campus. And so anyone who really wasn't from the same cultural background as me was in a different part of campus. And it was kind of interesting to see that experience. And then after my freshman year, where I just felt like I didn't really fit in many ways, I was the only kid in my dorm who didn't rush a sorority. And I was trying to find a place, and I applied for the Scholar Leader dorm. And that ended up being such a really interesting mix of kids, both from personal backgrounds and academic interests. And I really found a small little home there in the middle of campus, in also one of the oldest dormitories on that side of the Appalachian Mountains. So kind of found my footing there. And during the rest of my experience at Miami, I just kind of kept wanting to leave campus and get a bigger bite of the world. And so I found an opportunity to study abroad. Miami had a campus in Luxembourg. And so I applied and got a grant and ended up going to Luxembourg for a year out of my college. And that kind of started a lot more of my desire to travel and get to know other places. Because part of my grant while I was there was also money to travel. And I went to like 12 different countries during that period of time. Got to see all the art that I was studying. Got to interact with people. Like, you're in college and you go abroad, and a lot of kids, all they see, unfortunately, is the inside of a pub. And I'd found like the 3 people who wanted to see every art museum in Europe. and that's what we did. And so after that experience, I was like, all right, what are the other things that I can do to experience the world, to get to know people from different places? And so as I came closer to graduation, I looked at Fulbright Awards to go to different countries. And I knew I was also interested in teaching. And this is kind of the way that I am. If I'm going to jump into something, I'm like, let me see if I can do it in the hardest possible scenario. And then I know I can do it. So I said, all right, let me see if I can teach in South Korea, where I have to learn a new language, learn a new culture, and also learn how to be an effective teacher at the same time.
Wow.
So I bit off a few things.
A few.
Just a few.
Just a few.
Got over there and had an incredible experience. If anybody ever goes to South Korea, you will find very quickly it is a very welcoming culture. It's one of those places where if you ask for directions, people will not only give you directions, like the little ajumma, the little older grandmother will be like, let me grab your hand and walk you 3 blocks down the way and take you to the place that you're looking for, and also show you where the best street food is. So had those experiences and ended up staying for 6 years. So by the time I left, I was nearly fluent in Korean, or at least conversationally fluent. I had lots of wonderful relationships with families and students that I worked with. And I was wholly unprepared for teaching in the United States.
So Jet, what grade did you teach while you were there?
So I've always taught at the high school level. So generally it was 9th and 10th graders at first, and then 12th graders at the end. And Korea actually only has 3 years of high school. They eliminate one of those years, and I joke that they eliminate it by never going home from school. Because they literally do from like 7 a.m. in the morning until lunch. They leave school for like an hour where the kids go have lunch and then come back to the building. They work until dinner time. They have dinner. They come back for night study. And then when they leave night study at around 10 at night, I think it is, often they go to a study room that is independently paid for by their families, and they study till 2 o'clock in the morning. And then they go home and they sleep for about 5 hours. And in their final year, they say if you sleep more than 3 hours a night, that you won't fly to the sky. And SKY stands for Seoul, Korea, or Yonsei University, the 3 biggest universities in Korea. So it's a really intense academic experience. And it also removes kind of a lot of the social components of what students experience in the US in high school. So a very different cultural experience of school. Yeah.
I'm just it's so much that I feel like Kelly now. I feel like the spirit of Kelly came on. I'm still stuck on the fact that Miami University is not in Florida.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's the first part. I was like, every time I look at it, it messed me up, and I'm like, no, she's saying Ohio.
Miami of Ohio.
Miami of Ohio. Yes, it's like 40 minutes
No.
from Cincinnati.
No,
That's like Atlanta of New York.
no, it don't. It don't exist.
So that academic schedule, is that just high school, or is that the lower grades and as well as high school?
So that is just the high school schedule. The middle school schedule is still very intense. What I basically saw is in lower grades, kids do not play sports unless they are an athlete intending to be a professional athlete. They don't have a part-time job like students might hear. Like everything is about school. And there is a very intense focus on education and, honoring your parents by doing well in school. It is everything for those years.
So that's every day for 3 years in high school, just that round the clock basically studying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's peaceful, a parent though. I don't have a problem with that. Let me move to Korea.
Oh man.
But look, we got somebody that tuned in. Michael D. Finkley, actually of the Michael D. Finkley show, like it's real huge down in South Carolina.
So, bro,
He's on. He said he love a good bow tie, self tie, that he calls it. That's actually a good person to connect with. Jack, also Wayne and Kelly. He also just got another gig working on the radio down there in Columbia, the Jamal Bates show. So Michael is doing some great things. He's also a co-author in the book that we were on, Letters to Our Brothers. And he's just been an extraordinary person to know and connect with. So put your handle down there, Michael.
I was going to ask if Mr. Finkley did anything with the
yeah, you met him that same day.
breast cancer book, because I feel like when we were in Columbia, like I feel like we did something with him, but he'll have to let us know if he had anything to do with high heels and low places.
Yeah, Michael, let us know. Cousin is on. Hey, this is everybody cousin. Y'all, this y'all cousin too. So tell cousin, hey.
Man, long time.
Cuz.
And it's two of them running around here. He a twin. It's another one.
Oh.
So, yep, cousin. Pastor Jessica has made it.
What's up, Jessica?
Jessica.
From Las Vegas. Look at this. Hey, Chad.
What's up, Chad, man?
And then he said, yes, he did. He was part of it because he's awesome.
Yeah.
Mike, put your handle in the comments so that everybody can connect with you, because these are some awesome people you need to know, okay? Wow. Okay, so how did all these experiences prepare you to that place of being this human-centric DEI consultant? You know, I'm still stuck on Miami being in Ohio, but other than that, talk about this human-centric DEI consultant part.
So certainly where I was raised in Ohio, I was raised in a not exceptionally diverse community. And then living abroad in Europe, experiencing a very different kind of approach to things than I had ever known. And then further going to South Korea, living in a culture that is actually very homogenous, but very rich in culture. And so actually for the first time in my life, being in a space where I couldn't hide, everything about me stood out. I was always in a space of being the other. And I was like, oh, this is a very different experience. Made me a little more aware at that point, with that awareness growing, of other people having that experience all the time in the US. And so then when I came back and started teaching in Durham, I had also developed a real investment in understanding that like every student is so unique, and every student's experience as a human being in the world is so unique. And I realized in my educational years, we give so much compassion to young people as they learn, and the things that they need. And one of the things that I've talked about as a human-centric DEI consultant is we seem to put a cap on that at some point as people age, that they're no longer, for some reason, worthy of that compassion, or the sort of impetus to help each other grow. We're just like, well, why haven't you learned it yet? So now we're going to turn our back on you. And what I realized as I was working with my students, who, you know, most teachers will tell you this, taught me a lot more than I probably taught them, was that the real work I needed to be doing was actually with adults outside the classroom. Because I was seeing a lot of educational harm happen because people didn't understand or weren't open to other people's cultural experiences, other people's ways of learning, to our neurodivergence and how that impacts us. And so I started thinking a lot more about each of our individual human experiences, but how they interact with each other based on the environment and how we respond to those environments. And that's where a lot of my human-centric philosophy comes from.
I have a lot of questions about that human-centric component.
For sure.
Mike wanted to put his information up here, guys, for you, but he also says he does DEI. And one of the things I can say that I do appreciate about what you said, Jack, is I like when people put a specialty on their DEI. Versus those who try to paint DEI with a broad stroke, because I feel like sometimes we miss some great opportunities if people would focus on a specialization. And one of my pet peeves, I always tell people, there's diversity in DEI. Like there's literally diversity in DEI.
Right.
And I think we need to stick to a specialty because we run the risk of speaking for all people.
Right.
So my question based off of your story is, it took you being a minority to understand the plight of the minority. So what will be your advice to those who don't have to deal with that inconvenience? Like, you chose that inconvenience and it became a learning example. But what about those who live in a place of luxury and they say, why would I even care enough to learn about DEI because I'm living in a place where I'm never going to be the outsider?
Right. I would say it's like anything else that's worth learning. All learning is an experience of a little bit of disequilibrium, a little bit of discomfort, but we gain so much from it. And the friendships, experiences, shared joy that I have had with people because I have put myself in the position of being in places where I am not amongst everyone who's just going to make me comfortable immediately because I know exactly the way they operate. Because I have done that, I've had a much richer life. And it's actually not hard to do. You don't have to go all the way to South Korea to do it. You can go 40 minutes in almost any direction and have a very different experience than, where you're at right now.
Okay.
Jay, I think it takes some selflessness too.
Okay.
To be willing to, because when we go through those learning processes, we're learning about others as well. And it takes some of that selflessness to remove me from the center of everything that's happening, to be able to say,
Yeah,
I do want to learn. And not only for me, but about someone else. So I think, there's a lot of people who are selfish, not willing to take the selflessness and say, let me learn and put, something besides just me.
Yeah, I think one of the areas that people are most afraid of growing in the period of time that we live in right now is emotional growth, emotional intelligence, and putting ourselves in situations where we're trying something new, and being vulnerable, and not centering ourselves is something that not a lot of people are doing as much even as maybe they used to. I feel like that's a closing door in many ways. And it's part of why there's so much disconnect amongst so many communities.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait to the next question because I was gonna say something. And I'm like, I think we're gonna go over it in the next question. So we'll see.
And I was just gonna say, Jay is not from here, Jack, so he might not understand me saying I'm not gonna hold you going to Duke University against you at all. Go Heels.
I say I have to cheer for them because they did give me a scholarship, so they paid for my education.
Okay, you get a pass.
Duke is amazing. Don't let them tell you any different. Duke is amazing.
Where they were.
Hold on, what'd you say?
Duke is
And
amazing.
they're a good ball team where they were.
Jay, can you get rid of a quarter of the screen right now?
This is the part that's saying Duke is amazing.
Because that sounds like unsweet tea is amazing.
I mean,
Duke's amazing, unsweet tea is amazing. I mean, it's like the same.
My plight in life ever since I moved to North Carolina is that everyone I make friends with is a Tar Heel.
Not anymore.
There we go.
Not anymore.
Well, Jack, I moved up here from South Carolina, so I'll still be stuck when people be saying Carolina. I'm like, which one? Because everybody's talking about Carolina.
And that's how we know he's not from here. How do you say which one? Like the one. But
what y'all give options here, just like your barbecue. Which one?
But Carolina is the Carolina, the oldest one here. But yeah, I was just again along the same lines that Jay was asking. Like it just seems like in most of your environments in Ohio, in South Korea, at Duke, that there was not like a lot of diversity. So for you to be, pulled that way, I think is pretty remarkable. So how is it that you drag your circle of influence, like the people around you who may not see? What conversations do you have with them and helping them to see what you've seen, what you've experienced now, and then how you can see it as on a broader picture? Because most people think if it didn't happen to them, it's not happening.
Absolutely. And I think that is one of the most important parts of the experiences that I've had, is that there are so many people who have been in the circles that I've been in who haven't had those experiences, maybe don't even believe a lot of those experiences exist. And so sharing stories and also challenging ideas. When people come out with something and they make a statement that is so devoid of knowing any experience other than their own, you have to come back with questions. And I do a lot of that where I parrot questions back to people when they say things. Tell me more about that. And then, where does that way of thinking come from for you? Or where do you think the root of that thought is? And asking people to kind of think about their thinking. And that can be really hard on friendships, especially if you're the person who does that a lot with people who aren't ready to take on some of those challenges, but you keep at it. And I think a lot of my friends have valued that about me. We joke that I'm literally the person who says what everyone's thinking in the room, but no one will say out loud. And people are always like, oh, thank God Jack's here, because they'll say it. And then we have real conversations. But I've also noted that amongst primarily white communities, there is what I call the code of white silence. Things that you just kind of, you haven't verbally agreed to not talk about them, but you have culturally agreed to not talk about them. Everybody just kind of knows. And the minute I started being someone who breached that rule, also the way that people interacted with me changed. And I recognized that change. It took a while for me to understand what it was coming from, but it didn't change the approach that I take.
I guess I wasn't trying to come here, but hold on. Jessica said sure. Misha said, hey y'all.
Hey, Misha.
Hey, y'all.
Jessica said, I love that. Think about their thinking.
I like that too. Yeah, think about your thinking.
I'm gonna start saying it to my kids. Think about your thinking. Yep, definitely rough on friendships, but it is so worth it for fruitful connections. Otherwise, what are we
even doing?
What are we even doing here?
What are we even doing?
What are we even doing?
Well, I had to change the accents to say that. That's the funny part. She said, face real but not fake.
So petty.
Some people are real stubborn.
Well, I was thinking about, like, when we talk about access or influence, a lot of people don't realize, one, that they do have influence within their connections.
Right.
And one of the things that I have seen a lot of times when it comes to, especially this DEI space, that still some people don't understand admissibility versus accessibility. So they're thinking, because I'm giving you admissibility, that automatically equals access to something. So they will hire you at a job, but hire you to do what?
Right.
They will invite you into spaces, but give you access to what?
Right.
And it seemed like, I thought Wayne was telling me to shut up. No, I was like, sorry.
I was saying,
like, sorry.
No, when they hire you in those spaces, this is what they want you to be, is
Mhm.
quiet. That's why I was saying.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, because with me being a Black person who deals with values, fortunately, I don't get much pushback when we start talking about the DEI, because I'm coming from a value lens and people are like, yeah, pretty much. But I have seen counterparts who strictly deal in the DEI space and talk about accessibility. And I have heard non-Blacks say, it sounds like y'all want handouts. It sounds like y'all want this. It sounds like y'all complaining. It sounds like y'all begging. So the bigger question is, how do you help the non-Blacks to understand, like, if you want to help, we don't need another service project, but true accessibility, not just inviting us into a room, not just allowing us to sit at a table, but true access to things that could permanently change the trajectory of our life and our community.
Right. I mean, there's a saying that probably most of us who've worked in any form of DEI know: nothing about us without us. And so anytime I'm working with people or an organization and they're talking about trying to be more inclusive, trying to make a space more welcoming, I'm like, are you asking the people you want to show up what it is they need? Because I think what too often happens is people develop ideas of what they think other folks need, be it based on culture or race or disability or any of these things, and they never ask. And so they just start implementing all of these things, saying, well, look, we're doing something. And then they don't understand why it's not working. Well, you haven't actually included the people at the heart of the matter. And it's the same reason we have so many problems in government, because people do the same thing. They're like, oh, we're going to create solutions to problems we don't have. And we're also going to give people all of these things they didn't ask for and take away things that they want. Wow, that was effective.
And call it DEI.
Call it DEI, call it policy, call it all kinds of good things.
Well, it's kind of going to go into this one. I'm going to go ahead and read it real quick. Can you briefly explain how principles like historical truth-telling and educational humility guide your approach as a human-centric DEI consultant?
Yeah.
Because there's so much I wanted to say. And I was like, oh, we got a question about it.
Yep. Well, historical truth-telling to start with. So for me, as a white person growing up in the United States, I was taught a very Eurocentric curriculum. And when I started to teach in primarily Black and Brown communities, I realized very quickly that the material that I had to teach and that I was most familiar with was not actually all the material that my students were going to respond to, and also wasn't honoring their history in this country. And so I had to do a lot of work to educate myself to be a better teacher, to tell the whole truth of literature and history that I was working with, in order to really invite students into engaging in the classroom and feeling invested in that experience. And that required humility on my part. I had to admit there were a lot of things I didn't know. There were a lot of things that I hadn't been taught. And I also had to recognize that there were a lot of things I hadn't been taught on purpose. And that can be a hard pill for a lot of folks to swallow. And so it does take humility to say, you know what, I don't know about that. Let me go find some information, especially when you're supposed to be the teacher in the classroom. And we have a real sense in this country of saying, you know, whoever's standing at the front of the room, they're the authority on the matter. But sometimes being the best educator is admitting that you don't know a thing and that you're all going to learn it together.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
You about to say something? Bro, your mic sound horrible. Say something?
Still bad?
It's like it's got a weird echo or something.
Mm.
It didn't sound like that before, just so you know. And Misha was adding to your previous point of and want you to be satisfied and be happy with, well, we doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that for much. And she said pretty much agreeing with what you were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And Jessica Brown said more grace and light to folks in the DEI space, because the way I don't have the patience. She said, leave me in the mindfulness space. I literally rather teach people to breathe.
And that's important too, because we need people to breathe through some of the reactions they have in the DEI space so that they can learn a thing.
Booyah. I just wanted to say that since nobody else said it.
Word of the day.
Yep. You got something to say, bro?
Does my mic still sound bad?
It sounds a little bit better. It sounds a little bit better. That's all.
All right.
Okay. You ready to go to the next one? Wayne and Kelly, you had anything to add to that one? I can't believe we only got 15 more minutes left.
No, I mean, I like what Jack said about, you know, being taught Eurocentric education and it being on purpose. It's definitely on purpose.
Yes.
Especially here in the South, like I always say, you know, they lost the Civil War, but they won the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So when we start putting up all these monuments, not in the 1800s, but in the 1900s, you know, when the civil rights era is kicking off, like that was purposeful. So
yes.
Yeah, so the fact that she says it was on purpose, and we want to continue to celebrate Columbus Day. Like we continue to do these things and minimize all of the work that Black people have given to this country and the contributions that they've given, not just to this country, but around the world. The fact that you can be in college and still learn something about something that's so basic is on purpose. So you have to want to learn, you know, like Jack said, you have to seek these things out, and you have to know, as a white person, just because you're at the front of the room, you're not the authority. You're not the authority on what these Black and brown children, their experiences and what they know, what they're learning at home.
Yep.
That's it.
I like how you faded your own self out. I was about to say, okay,
yeah. Yeah. People always want to say the system is broken, but really the system is doing exactly what it was designed to do.
And how.
Yep.
Yeah. You know.
And you know what I was sitting there thinking, like, and I don't know if it's definitely a Black thing. I'm like, we can look at anybody and tell like something else in you. Like a good example, like Jack, when I met you, I didn't say like, oh, this is a white person.
Mm-hmm.
something else in there. And it's like, and we just know. And so I was wondering, like, I know that you said you came from like a predominantly white environment, but is there something else in there, or was you perceived different because you have a darker skin tone, you given some Asian and some Hispanic vibes there, and so that's why I'm like, did they really accept you, or it was like, no, it really became something when I went to Korea. I kind of felt different, but then it really became different in Korea because I didn't think you was just a white person when I was forced to take a picture with you.
My students kept trying to make me not white too. They were like, "You're Puerto Rican, aren't you? You're like," they would come up with all kinds of things. And the truth is, I'm very, very white. I think being a trans person gives me a unique experience of being outside of certain aspects of expected community in the United States. I think that has absolutely shaped some of my experience. But I grew up in a space where a lot of people were actually very racist, and it just felt super wrong to me. I am also autistic and ADHD. And the more I read about autism, the more people tell me that we have like a really strong sense of justice is like a symptom of autism, which they talk about it like it's a bad thing. And I'm like, I feel like, wow, we'd really be better off if everybody had a really strong sense of justice.
Real.
I don't know. So I think some of those things are part of what people get a vibe from when they meet me. But I mean, I'm Irish and Czechoslovakian and German and Welsh.
Oh, it's that Catherine Zeta-Jones mix.
There you
Yeah,
go.
because for the longest I thought she was Hispanic, and I was like, she's not.
Mm-mm.
She ain't nowhere near it.
Nope.
Ah, that does make sense. Isn't humanity something?
Yeah.
I'm all right now because I was like, I don't see that. And when Kelly, did you feel that way when you first met her? You like, that's just a white woman, white person?
No, I felt the same. And Turnwald, was another one of that thing's like, is there some indigenous, like what's happening right here with Jack?
I straight up had a principal once check the back of my neck.
What that mean?
She was looking for the hair on the back of my neck. She wanted to see if I had any hair that did not look like it came from a white person at the nape of my neck.
Okay, she got a kitchen test. I didn't know that was a kitchen test.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a kitchen test.
Now, tell me, that is like amazing. I just want to do a whole show on that.
Right.
They checked your kitchen. Oh, look, and Pastor Jess, she wanted to let you know she's neurodivergent as well.
Yeah.
And she can't believe it either.
True story.
That's amazing. Okay, I'm glad you did. Okay. Oh, y'all, we got 10 more minutes left. How this time went by so fast?
Oh, no, it happens again.
Always like that.
Okay.
Oh,
I like this one because look, I gotta skip the one because okay, we're gonna jump right on into it. You ready to read this one, Broham?
Sir.
Yeah. Who's Broham?
Go ahead,
Mr. Wilhelm.
Can you share your perspective on how DEI initiatives in political leadership can play a role in addressing and potentially healing generational trauma within communities?
Absolutely. So it's a highly complex question, but it really comes down to really simple actions. If we have leaders who are really interested in serving people and building community, which is what would serve us all, we have to be committed to understanding each other's experiences, to inviting people to the table who have experiences that we don't have in order to get those perspectives and shape policy that's going to impact those experiences. And if we don't have those experiences, we don't always know how to shape that policy. So we have to seek that out. We have to know when to step back from the table and invite someone else in as the expert. But the other part of that, the second part of that question about healing generational trauma, that is, I think, one of the hardest parts about where we land right now in this country. This country is founded on trauma. There is racial trauma, there is religious trauma. And I've been doing more and more reading and trying to learn more too about epigenetics. We are all carrying this trauma in our bodies. And until we start to unpack that trauma, I'm not sure that we can build the healthy communities that we really want, that will really thrive. And so political leadership is, at this point, the way our system works, to build community, to build policy, to build the way in which we navigate our daily lives according to the systems at play. But those systems are also built from that trauma and have imposed trauma upon people. So how do you actually build something that's healthy until you unpack that?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
unrelated.
Yes, ma'am.
Lord have mercy.
Too funny.
When you
Yes,
talk
ma'am.
about it. But Ron Taylor has another great movement in Pittsburgh. It's called Blackbird Love. And
Yes,
it's
that was an
emphasizing,
amazing story.
That was a great show. Yep.
Great show.
The 8%. I didn't know that Pittsburgh was only 8% Black. And so there is a true disparity about representation in Pittsburgh. Thank you for what you're doing. Misha is an amazing makeup artist, guys. Somebody to know, like, sensational. She's a great friend of the show. Just lost her husband last year. And she's raising them kids on her own and doing a wonderful job while making people look good while she's healing forward.
Awesome. Blessings to you, Misha.
Yes.
Yep.
I
wanted to unpack. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because when Jack was talking, they made a statement of, when you don't know what other people need, you need to invite those people in the room to be able to give what is needed. And as I was looking at those words on the screen and hearing that, the problem is that goes against so people who are really trying to do DEI work, but not some, you have to be willing again to remove yourself. And that is what's so difficult, because I've been told I'm the smartest in the room. Historically, I've been told that really I'm inferior. I'm superior. No, people who look like me are superior in this country. So why would I ever minimize myself to a group to say we need someone else to lead and give us what we need, because clearly you have me. So it's kind of, it's just an oxymoron, really, that somebody had to have that mindset. And when you talk about that in political leadership, I have a lot of hope that things are going to turn around and get better. But when you start thinking about the mindset of a lot of political leaders, that's difficult to do, to be able to say to the room, hey, there's someone else in here smarter than me. Let's give them an opportunity to share.
I think Jack put a big chip in it with their run for the Holly Springs Town Council, because one way that you're going to address these issues is to vote people in who know about these issues and who are concerned about these issues.
Oh, yes.
Who have a, they want to heal the generational trauma, but they already know about it and they want to learn more. So we keep electing the same type of people when really, like, we're giving these people jobs for a couple of years when we really should be firing people. Like, they need to get their evaluation, and we should be firing people every 2 to 4 years. So that is how you, that's how you shift the political leadership. Like, we got to get people in there who know. And Jack, you ran an amazing race. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, you got some people shook. Like, I don't think they were expecting what happened to happen. And so that's what we got to keep doing. We got to keep talking to people. We got to keep finding out, where are people who are genuinely concerned about us. Sometimes they look like us, sometimes they're not going to look like us, but we need everybody, the ones who look like us and the ones who don't. We're sending them anyway, and they need to be the people who we send need to be concerned about what's happening in our communities, and we need to hold them accountable when they get there. We can't keep doing what we've been doing and expect a different outcome, because they're going to keep doing what they've been doing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I will climb down off of mine.
Well, Ron said, to add to what you were saying, flipping the mindset and having people from all walks of life to have a voice holds so much value for perspectives, to not be one-sided.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Absolutely.
And I was going to say this too. The one thing that I did want to throw in there when we think about political leadership, and this is really to Wayne and Kelly helped me understand this, because I had a skewed perception of political and also leadership. Political is not just political party,
Right.
and it's not just government. It is also public affairs. So when a person says that I'm not political, it's actually a lie. And there's parts of the political movement you may not be a part of, but everyone who cares about any part of humanity is invested in those things that are political, because public affairs affects us all. And so if you don't know what's going on from a social dynamic, you don't know what's going on and influencing from a law perspective, you can't say that you care about humanity. So anybody who says that they're not political are cheapening themselves and missing out on something. So I do think, Wayne and Kelly, forgive me that, because I was like, nah, I don't do it. But it forced me to look at it in a different level, because we will add value to certain words and attach emotions to them that will rob us of what the true essence of something is. Just like these agendas that people claim that people have, but they have never furnished an actual agenda. Somebody, you pushing this agenda. Where is it? And where's the secret meeting? So I can go and be nosy. I want to go be nosy at these secret meetings. But everybody claims somebody is pushing an agenda when the true agenda of ignorance is running rapid, but nobody says anything about that one.
That part.
That's true. And you can be nonpartisan and still be political.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
People keep trying to make the word activist a bad word.
That's right.
But being an activist means that you care about something enough to show up and try and change.
Yes.
And I would hope we would all be activists about something.
That's right. And people can say they don't do politics. Politics will do you, whether you want to or not. So you
don't
can
run,
say,
Jay. Don't
say you don't do politics, but politics will eventually do you.
And won't leave you $40 on the counter either. Just say do you, won't leave no $40.
Watch out now.
I don't know that I want to be involved.
Don't get in.
This everything to do with the sacred box.
I'm sorry, that was a good one. That was too good. He was like, they will do you, and won't even give you $40. They'll ask for it. They'll tax you. Oh, that's something good. But yeah, you did do some damage, and I want to commend you, just like what Kelly said, Jack. I thank you for standing outside of the box. I thank you for being patient. I thank you for being an example, because somebody always thinks like when a person is running for anything, that means that they are without whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it has nothing to do with what you may or may not have done, but it's you willing to be an example, being a
Mhm.
martyr. Look, a martyr of accusations, both literally and figuratively. So anybody who stands out to say, hey, I want to make a change and I want to do something about it, I commend them
Yes.
for that, because it's easy to, be a parking lot politic, just like a parking lot preacher
Mhm.
or shade tree mechanic when it comes to things. But
Right.
you chose to put yourself on the front line, and you
Mhm.
did do some damage in that area. And I just thank you for being a human throughout the entire process and not a gimmick or an
Right.
image. You impressed me when I seen you in public. You impressed me when I was forced to take a picture with you. You impressed me when I ran up on you and your lovely wife. You impressed me because you have been consistent. And I think that that's very essential. And I think you need to know that people are paying attention.
Mhm.
And if you don't ever receive any flowers, I hope that you know that things are blooming because of the seeds that you planted.
We need
Thank
more
you.
Jacks in the
Definitely.
world.
Definitely.
I wanted more than anything to show up authentically and show people that, like, to be a part of any historically excluded group and to show up in big spaces as an authentic person is actually really hard. It's scary and it can even be dangerous for folks.
Mm.
But showing up as anything less than our authentic selves has a much greater cost. Um, and it's worth the price, from what I've seen. The people who've reached out, the people who've felt seen because of the conversations we've been starting, it's enough for me. Yeah,
Hope you're not done.
never. My wife is always asking me, why are you always running into the fire? Like, because if you don't, the whole house burns down. Somebody's
right.
got it. No, I believe in being a show upper. Keep showing up, and one of the hardest things is the system in general wants to make you tired of showing up.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
And so when I can utilize my resources in whatever way I can to keep doing that, I will.
Unrelated again, Kelly and Wayne, are you interested in adopting a neurodivergent potato in Las Vegas? who happens to be a pastor, so this might work out.
All right, Pastor.
And then this is a serious one and a true one. She said she's the fan. How do people support you, Jack, who are not in the area? Like, I don't live in Holly Springs, and Kelly and Wayne don't live in Holly Springs, and Cordell don't live in Holly Springs,
For sure.
and Jessica don't even live in the state. So,
Right.
She across the country.
Well,
mhm.
you can
But the answer
follow
is
me.
no, Jessica. We are trying to be empty nesters over here. But
They don't mean it. They don't mean it.
I was gonna say,
tell us again, Jack. How can we
can
support you?
follow me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as Jack Turnwald. I'm also going to be doing some work here in the new year where I'm going to be converting my campaign page to be doing a little more long form writing about some different things and sharing some ideas with the community. Hopefully getting some information to people. It's one of the things that lots of people brought up during the campaign was just the lack of local news sources that really dig into things. So my Jack for Holly Springs page is soon going to be JHS, Jack in Holly Springs. We're going to change it up just a little. And I'll be touching on a lot of different topics, local politics, but also DEI issues, and maybe digging into a little local history. We're going to have some fun. So people are certainly welcome to follow there, and we'll see what the future holds politically. But if there ever happens to be a run again, you don't have to live in town to donate to a campaign. So
That's right.
yeah.
Mhm.
Come on, money.
And if you're not following them, you don't know Jack.
Right.
You know,
We love that hashtag.
that was
You know,
hot.
Jack.
That was hot.
Definitely, I love the stuff that you're going to be doing in the community. If you need any of us to help in any kind of way, we are available. My only request is, can you add a little bow tie to the human-centric little person that's there? And also add a, when you do your new page, I want you to incorporate a bow tie. I just think that's amazing.
It's already done. Stacey Burns has it covered. That was the one ask I said of the logo. I was like, I need it to have a bow tie, but I need it to not look like my campaign stuff.
Okay, and Ron says that too.
The little curl, did the curl stay? The bow tie and the curl?
I was going to say my little person is not on the logo, but we might have to work on that. We'll see.
Wow. Well, if you do need help with the writing and the community things, let us know. I actually, how part of my love for Holly Springs is that I did a lot of the historical research, Angie Staley and I. And so I know more about Holly Springs than I know about Augusta, Georgia. But so anything that we can help you with, just let us know. Thank you for sharing this time with us. Y'all, we done went into overtime.
Uh-oh.
Sometimes
it's the love after dark.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not. It is not that. It's anything but that. No.
My bad. See, I'm not the marketing person, Jack. You see,
you're not.
This is why.
Love at the dark.
This is why.
I've always heard people don't mind if you go a little too long, as long as you're saying something.
Yeah.
So, and y'all saying something. So that's, you know.
Not love after dark. That's not saying that.
No.
Look at this one.
Jessica is all in.
Yes, Jessica is definitely our person.
Yeah.
Well, Jack, we definitely got to get you back and check out some things that you're doing when you get things going. We got to get you. Look, we got to get you over to at the Helm too.
Yes.
For sure.
To do some work over there too, to talk about the same things, but even more. If you need anything from us, just let us know how we can help in that regard. Because learning, this is the part that people miss. My brother has a shirt that he won't let me steal or take or get that says something that is so profound, and I love it. He said, equal rights for me doesn't mean less rights for you. It's not a pie.
It's not pie.
And that's such a profound statement, because a lot of people think you're not cheapening yourself by learning something. Right. If anything, you become more well-rounded and you learn to respond. And we get into these little tag places of being compliant or affirming or any of those things, and you're missing the point. See a person, see a human who has a story, who has something to enrich the human spectrum. See that first. Don't worry about these terms and labels, because you get caught up on that and you miss the beautiful interactions with people that have been presented just like today.
Yeah.
Okay. And so for anybody, because we're gonna have to leave up out of here. I don't even like pot girl, but
it's not even
big person, I bet.
Not even pecan pie.
No pie.
So anybody who's watching the show, if this is your first time watching, you can connect with any of us via the URL handles that we have on the screen. And if you feel that nobody in this world that cares about you or even loves you, just know that you've met 5 people that do. Make sure you see us next week. Jack, you stay on. We are going to out these people. And then we're going to be behind the scenes just for a minute. Everybody stay on. Everybody else, we'll see y'all sometime. Matter of fact, I think we'll see y'all next week. We might see you next week. Bye,
we're going to have story time with Wayne, maybe on At the Helm. I don't know. But Jessica.
We should let him write.
I need to get into book reading. I'll be an audible book reader. I can do that.
What'd you say, Cordell?
I said trademark it. Story time with Wayne, trademark it.
There you go.
I love it. Story time. You beat me to it, Jay. Story time after dark.
Let us get on out. Bye, y'all.